Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Oh.
Whoa. Whoa. Go away.
What are you doing?
So, no one knows but you, but while that intro's playing, I'm actually sharing it to a couple of different places. So as I'm sharing it, I'm actually hearing it. And I turn the volume down so no one hears it when we come back. And it took longer than usual today. So I had when your lovely wife says, Bob Graham, I have to be done to put the phone down and be ready. And today I wasn't done. I got to Tom Brush before I was done.
Uh-oh.
And so I screwed up. So I owe you a doot.
Very well done. For those of you listening to this on the podcast, that's a little bit of behind the scenes. And again, if you have not ever seen it, you do need to go to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook to watch the gyration that Bob does at the start of the show. It's worth the tone. You can envision it as you are listening. I guess that's what I'll say.
There you go. It's a little right arm, left arm, right arm. Like, what are those castanets? Or like I'm playing, what are the little things? Maracas.
Maracas. It's interesting. The picture that comes to my mind, you're going to laugh about this. Most people won't even know this. So, did you ever watch Mr. Rogers?
I did.
He had a little puppet character that I forget exactly whether it was a clown or it was something that had like arms that you could tell were on a string. And I think because you're so thin, everything is like if I was doing it, I take up almost the whole screen. You kind of get in here and you only take up a little bit of the screen. Correct. And it reminds me of that thing from Mr. Rogers. So if you are listening or are watching and you remember that little puppet, I'd love for somebody to come up with a picture of it, put it in the comments. Or at least to be able to share I'm sure it had a name, because everything at Mr. Rogers had a name. And I just can't remember what it is. But that one little vision is seared in my head now forever because I've seen it every day.
You never shared that before. Who would have thought it took 440 some odd episodes to get to that?
Well, we never had the issue where, we had the issues where I messed up the screen or whatever, but you went into good detail about right, left, whatever. And,
good point.
It could be a TikTok thing. I'm not really.
I am struggling here.
Might want to take a pause for a moment. So anyway, welcome everyone. This is today's Antidote, our daily podcast and broadcast, where
I always want to say our daily cast, both broad and pod.
Well, isn't that longer than saying our daily broadcast and podcast?
I just think it's creative. Our daily broadcast and podcast, everyone says that, but it's our daily cast, both broad and pod. It makes us sound like we're hip.
Dude.
Just like people don't say social media now, they just say social.
Okay. I'm not so sure, outside of the fact that I just used the word dude on this broadcast twice, that we would be considered hip. The fact that I probably could even recognize that there is such a thing as TikTok, it makes us maybe possibly relevant to some, and others would be like, why are these two old guys talking to a camera and not editing it and not having emojis and words and songs and all that other stuff behind it?
Fair.
So anyhow, that's why I'm sticking. When you do the intros, as you sometimes like to do, you can say our daily cast, both broad and pod.
Okay, I will. I may do that Monday.
Yeah,
It'll become a thing.
could be. It could become a thing. We'll see. That's kind of like your little gyration at the beginning. It happened one day and then it became a thing.
That's
So,
it.
all right, folks, thanks so much for joining us. We hope that as you listen to our conversation today around our topic, that if you have thoughts you'd like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments. And at the end, we'll share our one thing. If you have one thing you'd like to share, please feel free to provide it. Now, today's a little different. On Fridays, we do our discoveries of the week. So it's not necessarily our one thing. It's the one thing we looked at, not just today, but throughout our conversation. And this week, our conversation has been about finding fault. And before we get into that, we are going to do what we do every morning, is start off with our celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating?
I am celebrating the fact that I made dinner for myself last night. And by the way, I got a notification last night from your wife. I think I'm okay to read this. Let me read this because it was very funny. I don't think she'll be offended. Feeling a little disenchanted with man of the house, cooks dinner day, as it is almost 7:30 and there's no action in my kitchen. This was sent to me at 7:22. So, couple things I take from that. One, she was paying attention. Two, she listens or watches our program pretty consistently. And three, I hope by 7:40 you were cooking.
I was just about getting started. I had a call at 7.
Okay.
For my college reunion, and we were trying to wrap it up. Probably.
So you did make dinner eventually.
I did make dinner. Absolutely.
What did you make? What ingredients?
So I'm not sure I'm not sure I followed all the rules.
Got to be 4 and use more than a fork were the rules.
So we had sliced up baked potatoes. So more like French fries, but they're not, like potato wedges. That's probably
okay.
What to describe it. And then we had cheeseburgers.
Okay, cheeseburger roll.
Bacon
potato.
Bacon for my daughter and I.
Bacon.
There was a sauce, though I didn't really make that because I didn't believe anybody wanted it. Yet there was ketchup and mustard, and so people used that to put it on.
Qualify. Did you use a utensil other than a fork?
You would have used a knife to put whatever spread you had on, maybe on your.
You qualify, albeit late in the day. You qualify. Congratulations.
There's stipulations in the rules aren't what time it was.
You are correct.
You had to do this.
So I will say it. Yesterday, I made myself dinner because I was alone, and I actually had to find a 4th ingredient. I only had 3 ingredients. I had hamburgers. I don't eat rolls. I had potatoes that I was sauteing, and I put some oiling with them. And then I'm like, I need something else. And I had a couple of bulbs of garlic. So I put garlic in my potatoes, and it was awesome. A real improvement on the potatoes. So I was quite excited, and I got a nice little hash brownie kind of thing going, and I was styling. I was really disappointed that there was no one to share the meal with. That's how good it was.
There you go. Good for you.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, yesterday was National Men Make Dinner Day. Is that what it was? So that's what we were discussing. So congratulations on making your dinner. That's awesome.
And being creative. You know, I watch my wife. She'll just find stuff around the kitchen and add it in all the time, and it works beautifully. I'm not that guy. So it was nice to get out of my concrete sequential, it's got to fit the rules box, and just go with, well, I got to add a 4th thing, garlic. Let's mince some garlic.
There you go.
So, excellent. Yes.
All right. So my celebration for today is, so 2 weeks ago, I think if you've been watching the show, I had a presentation that I had to do to a group of nonprofit professionals. And someone in the group was intrigued by the whole idea of the day pack. And so they had put in there was a cool app that the conference used. They had put in a meetup for anybody who wanted to check in after 2 weeks to see if they were actually implementing the steps that I talk about. I thought it was such a cool thing that someone would be like, wow, I found value in what you shared. I'm going to set up a meetup to see if people want to connect and see how it's going. So I popped in, and there was just the two of us, the person who created it and I, and which was great. What they shared was, while there were a lot of things that they were still taking away from it and still leveraging as a part of the day pack, the thing that really made a difference for them, two things. One was celebrating. They were like, you know what? This whole idea of celebrating at the end of the day has made a true difference in who I am and what I am. And my kids have noticed that I am in a different place, that I'm not beating myself up for the things that I didn't get done, but I am finding things to celebrate and to move forward as a way to close out my day, which to me meant that all the work and preparation, whatever, to have impacted one person in that way, I felt real value in. And, you know, the other piece that they took away from this was control and what we can control, and that there are a lot of things that we can't. And so, you know, it was a short conversation, but it was one of those ones that you walk away at the end and like, this is why I do what I do, because I enjoy the fact that others find value in what I have shared.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's truly exciting.
It's very cool. It was very
I have a
cool.
small piece in the creation of that, and I sharing your joy.
Yeah, I would say you have more than a small piece. So,
yeah, you know, I'm being polite.
All right. So now, what is the world, or not the world? What is our nation celebrating today?
I have a quiz for you to get to this.
Oh, boy. Okay.
You need to tell me what all these people have in common. Okay.
Okay.
Lucille Ball, Queen Elizabeth, the first Queen Elizabeth, Ron Howard, Vincent van Gogh, Rupert Grint, Carol Burnett, Bonnie Raitt, and Winona Judd. Do you know what it is? Because if not, I can give you one that will really make it easy.
Nope. I think I got it after the second name. They're all redheads.
You got it. The one I was going to give you if I had to is Carrot Top. Remember Carrot Top, the comedian?
Yes, I do remember.
So it is National Love Your Red Hair Day.
Cool. I have a son that has red hair.
I didn't know that. You what? Your son?
I have a son that has red hair.
Oh, I did not know that. I've got a family of nieces and nephews who have red hair.
Yeah.
Like I think 1, 2, 3, 5 of them, 4 of the 5 or 5 of the 6, I think.
Wow.
A couple of facts about redheads that you may not know, Tom.
Okay.
Most natural born redheads have brown eyes followed by green or hazel. Only 1% have blue eyes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That's very wild.
That is the rarest kind. That's 1% of the whole world population has red hair and blue eyes.
Blue eyes. Huh.
Really? Now you want to just go out and look at redheads and be like, what color are your eyes?
Right. Do you realize that you're in the 1%? They'll be like, what are you talking about? You have red hair and blue eyes.
A different 1% than the 1% we've been talking about over the last 10, 12 years.
Correct. That is correct.
If only red hair and blue eyes got you in the economic 1%. That would be gold.
Maybe it's more beneficial to be in the red hair, blue eyes.
Yes, that's true.
Way to look at it.
All right. And as you may know, Tom, having a child who has red hair, people with red hair often are considered to be fiery and often are considered to be, you know, intense and all this. So this day celebrates them and normalizes them, because I'm blessed to have redheads in the family, and they are just like blonde-haired people and brown-haired people and brunettes and the whole bit. There isn't a differentiator other than the color of the hair.
What about bald people? I'm getting there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thanks.
You are. The funny thing is, you're getting there, and you seem a little concerned about it. I dislike hair completely. I would love to shave my head, but I think it would look like the relief map of the San Andreas Fault in the back, because I got hit by a bat when someone was trying to do a piñata at church when I was about 15. Out cold.
Nice. Excellent.
Yes.
All right.
Count to 10. Count to 10 before you swing. Don't swing on one. I remember counting 1, and then the next thing you know, I was getting smelling salts about 2.5 minutes later.
Nice. Fun. Yes. Very fun. All right. So we ought to probably get to our conversation this week.
Sure. Maybe we've already had our discoveries of the week. Bob's head is messed up because he got hit by a bat while someone was trying to open a piñata.
Well, I'm not sure unless if you found fault in that person, which it sounded like you were a little bit, that they didn't realize they were supposed to wait till 10, and maybe not. So as you think about the week about finding fault, we talked a little bit about finding it in ourselves, finding it in others, finding it in situations, lots of conversations around it. What's your discovery of the week, Bob?
It came down to, for me, I was thinking about this last night while I was cooking, fear and frustration. When I find fault in anyone, whether it's me, whether it's you, or any situation, it's about being afraid and about being frustrated. This should be happening quicker. I can't tell you how many times I go to bed at night and go, this should be happening quicker. This should have already gotten to this point. I should already be making this much money. I should already be doing this. I should already have this many customers. My clients should already be seeing these results. I can get very frustrated by that. And it really becomes fear for me because it leads me to think, well, maybe I picked the wrong thing to be doing. And that, we have limited amount of the day. If we waste it, then we feel bad about it and we get frustrated. What I think you and I have done with our day pack is we've given you a way around wasting your day. Even the least productive day in the world, we've found a way to get you to find some lessons in it. And I think that was the fear and frustration thing I never really thought through. But all week I was looking at situations, my own, other people's, things that just happened in general to me. I was like, two things keep coming up. When I really press down hard, it's fear and frustration. And I thought prior that it was failure. So I've replaced failure with fear and frustration. And now I'm using the day pack to put all three of those words out of the equation. Okay. And it occurs to me now, Tom, that I just came up with 3 F's that are different than the 4 F's that we could use next time we do this to talk about the 3.
Sure. Well, I think that there's, a lot of those things to me, as I think about finding fault, it's a lot of times it comes with what are the expectations? And, it's interesting as you were talking through that, it would be interesting if you took the word should have, 2 words, should have out of your, or the contraction, should have out of your vocabulary. How would that change things?
Oh, that would be a huge improvement.
I think that there's so much of we believe that we should get these results, even though typically we've never done the action that we just took. Maybe we've sent a similar letter. Maybe we've made a similar phone call, but it was to a different person with a different knowledge, experience, and perspective. And
or a different situation, because no 2 situations are identical ever.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And I think, you said maybe I chose the wrong profession. Maybe there is no right or wrong. It's just the profession you're in at the moment. And you're trying to determine how to be the best that you can possibly be at that profession. I think that there just is always, there's expectations that we have that others have for us. And I think that when we don't get them, we don't achieve them, we get feedback, right? We get feedback from what has happened. And then sometimes that feedback is finding fault in us. Sometimes it's others find fault in us, or we find fault in someone else or in a situation. And so that feedback then turns into fear and frustration, because I had this belief that if I did this, this was going to happen. And rather than just accepting that there are a lot of things at play, this was the result I got. Okay, what do I do with those results now? How do I better understand them so that the next time I take an action, the results might get closer to what I was expected? Because I know more about the situation, even though typically I can never know everything about the situation. So, I think it's a lot about, rather than as things happen, seeing what occurs. It's we in our head say, this is the result I want, and this is the result I believe that if I do these actions, I will get to that point. I just don't know that that is always the case. Almost probably not the case. May you get those the results you desire? Yes, that is possible. Doesn't mean that there isn't still ways to look at it to see how you might do it differently. So I just think that as I was thinking about fault, it's really about, we set ourselves up to find fault because we believe that this is what is going to be the end result of something that we do. And I think what's been interesting for me this week is I've been going through the 6-week program with others as well.
Define Success Your Renegade Way 6-week program.
Packing my day pack allows me to be more realistic about what I actually expect to accomplish. And what has happened is that partnering that with doing the best that I possibly can in the situation that I'm in, as a definition for success that John Wooden has shared, has allowed me to be, at the end of the day, like, okay, this is where I got to. And say, all right, now how do I learn from that and figure out how to decide what I'm going to do tomorrow? And what has happened is my list is very small. They're usually maybe 3 things. They're significant things. And so I have been this week usually able to check them off. Sometimes not completely, and that's okay. And at the same time, I have found other time to do all these other little things that I sort of needed to do. And what I found and have found is that those little things that I needed to do, if I didn't do them, no one was knocking down my door to do it. Like, there's one thing that it's been on my other list. Like, so I'm now starting to keep this other list of like tasks that I have to accomplish at some point.
I call it my rainy day list.
Yeah.
If someone cancels a meeting and I have an hour of free time, suddenly I go to that auxiliary list and start picking off items.
Right. And if I finish something early, or in my time, I've just managed. So this morning I got up, and actually as I was getting ready to come to start the show, I started thinking about one of those things. And the thought that came into my head was, wow, yeah, I need to do it. And no one is beating down my door to get me to do it. If I do it today, that'd be great. And at some point I will reach that point where I absolutely positively have to do it. And until then, it's not impacting who or what I am and what my day looks like. And it is such a radical shift that it really allows me to be more comfortable in what I am able to accomplish in a day, knowing all the things that could happen. And I think that comfort, this is why I love the Wooden quote, because he starts it with, it's a peace of mind. And I think that this week is one of those weeks. The lacrosse tournament that we're assigning, girls lacrosse tournament we're assigning at the end of the week, is every year. I know this week there's never enough officials because there's too many events. And every year I am up until, in the past, 1, 2 a.m. trying to figure it all out. And what I've realized is there isn't a way to figure it all out because it's an equation that can't have a solution. That's the one I would want. My expectation would be there'd be 2 officials on every field. People would get breaks so they wouldn't get burned out. That's unrealistic. I know that from past, and yet I'm still trying to achieve it. So this year I have let go of that, and it has allowed me to do the best I can in the situation that I have. So I think that's part of my discovery from the week. That was a long discovery. Sorry about that.
Well, I like it, and I can say, as someone who interacts with you all week, you have been far more focused and far more on task. You've just been like boom, 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 done, done, done. You know, things are happening at 7:21 in the morning that were often happening at 5 till 8. That's the opportunity. The other thing, Tom, as you were talking, I was thinking through it. When I talked about fear and frustration, those are emotions. And I think what we're doing with this day pack approach is we're taking the emotion out of it. We're separating the emotion so that this is what I need to do to get done. And the emotion is, well, I messed up that call. I didn't get the donor to give me the money. My team member still isn't working perfectly. That's over there. We're trying to talk through, okay, what's the next step? How do we learn from that experience? You had that discussion with your employee. It didn't go as you expected. What would you do differently next time? Well, next time I probably would have explained a couple more of the situations before I explained to him what was wrong. Okay, beautiful. Now you can use that going forward. And I think that's the real beauty of this. Rather than finding fault, which is emotion, we're trying to bring the clarity around what are the actions and what are the steps you're taking. And then, as you point out, the celebration is where the emotion is, right? And we're encouraging good emotion. Hey, I talked to someone yesterday and she had a great week. And I'm like, you're going to celebrate, right? Well, no, I did, no, you've made huge progress. Just what she was talking to me about was huge progress. And she couldn't see it for what it was. She just saw it like, well, I didn't get this thing accomplished. I'm like, no. You microanalyzed what wasn't working the way you wanted it to, and you've already come up with possible solutions. That's a huge leap for any of us.
Sure.
Absolutely. So now it's time, Tom, for me to do that pitch. If you are excited about the idea of our day pack program, hey, the Find Success the Renegade Way program, we have a way you can do that. We have a nice 6-week course. It's not labor intensive. The lessons are like 5 to 8 minutes long. Tom does some of them. I do some of them. I can tell you mine are, I try to be fun. I try to be brief. Tom tries to be fun, tries to be brief, but they're really focused on this whole idea of how you can better find the steps to take each day to achieve your vision, whatever that vision is. And Tom's just posted the link in there. It is a great course, really. We're seeing huge results, and it came out of John and me both. I'm sorry, Tom and me, totally blank there for a second. Came out of...
How many episodes have we done together? And if you looked at the screen, my name is right there.
I'm going to pay for that for weeks, people.
Not for me, because I'm not finding fault in it. It's just what happened.
I am. I'm sorry, Tom.
It's all good.
We found that we needed help figuring these things out. We started to play around with this, and we started to use it with a lot of the people we coached, and we saw that it was working. So we formed a formal program around it. And one of the things that we haven't talked about, Tom, real quick, is the office hours. Every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, one or both of us are on there, and you can come and ask questions. You can say, hey, I was struggling with this. You talked about this, and I need more clarification. Or am I doing this the best way possible? We have office hours. If you went to college or you went to a private school, the teacher probably had set office hours where you could go in, knock on the door, and ask them whatever. That's how Tom and I have set it up. So you're not alone. You're not isolated. And you also have the support of the people in the Facebook group, our Renegade Success Network members, many of them have already participated in this. They're in end of week 3 right now?
End of week 3.
So they will understand when you're in the middle of week 1 and you're getting frustrated, they're going to be the ones to say, hang on, it's all good. Give it a couple more days. It will work for you. So we've got this community. We've got the support of Tom and me, And we've got these really crisp, quick, clean videos and some simple activities, one question, 2 questions each day that get you thinking about what you're trying to do in different ways. It is well worth your investment of time. Tom's put the link there. If you're on the podcast and you're trying to figure out where that link is because it's not available, it'll be in the show notes. You can also go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com, look under programs, and you'll see Find Success the Renegade Way. Whew.
It was a lot. Here's the
I only got one name wrong.
It's fine. The one thing that I would add to that is, as I'm going through it, I think it's interesting. You start this and you're like, okay, how do we make sure that it is a finite amount of time that it takes? And sometimes it's hard to determine like how much time someone might spend on it. What I have found is that I can easily watch the content and do the homework in 15 minutes. And then I take another 15 minutes to do my day pack based on whenever it makes sense for me to do it. And for me, it's first thing in the morning. And it really can be done in 15 minutes. I determine what I have to do. I look at my calendar and I make sure I find out where I have time to do it and I slot it in. And so I think that, that's one of the things that I love about it. It actually is something that you can do fairly quickly to help you be more productive and effective throughout the rest of the day. So again, as Bob said, all the information is there. If you'd like to learn more about it, you'd like to be a part of it, let us know. We'll happily help you participate. And there's a cool app that you get to use as well. So it's easily accessible on your cell phone or your desktop. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for joining us for this extended version of Discoveries of the Week, usually a quick discussion. And we would appreciate your feedback or thoughts. If you are listening to the podcast and you would like to rate our show, we would love for you to do that. And
5 stars.
And share it with your family and friends if you think they might find value in this show. If you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, I'll get it right one of these days. Feel free to put things in the comments.
At least you get the name right.
Correct. Put it in the comments and share your thoughts and ideas. The other way you can join in our community is join our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. It's a free group. It just is private because we're trying to create a space where people can come in and have conversations about how do I deal with, I'm struggling to get rid of the emotion because I'm always finding fault in myself or others. And I really am now starting to see that as not productive. There are people in there who'd be happy to share and have conversations around that to help you move forward. So that's why it is a private group. But all you have to do is ask to join and tell us why you're a renegade, and you can become part of our community. So with that, we hope that you will have a great rest of the week. You're smirking about something.
I was trying to get in my head, I've got to say something and use your name at the end. I'm trying to figure out what it is. Go ahead.
You could have said, go ahead, Tom. Missed opportunity. Anyhow, so everyone, thanks so much. We hope that you have a great weekend. We will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of Today's Antidote.
Thanks, Tom. Tom. Embrace the renegading, you people, and have a great weekend doing it.
I agree. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.